Welcome to the Chicago Wine Show. This is our special Wine Insider edition. We're coming to you live from the Park Avenue Wine Bar in Barrington, Illinois. The show is brought to you by the International House of Wine and Cheese and for WineLovers.com. Today we have a special guest with us. We have Jeff Faber from Opolo Winery.
Thank you very much.
And sitting in with me is Tom from the Park Avenue Wine Bar.
How you doing? Cheers.
Cheers. Salud.
So you did a tasting here today with Opolo.
Yes.
And if for people who don't know about Opolo, where is Opolo in California?
Opolo in California is on the Central Coast. Central Coast is about 200 miles due south of San Francisco, 200 miles due north of Los Angeles. Hearst Castle is really where most people understand where this is, and then the Santa Barbara area, most people understand where Santa Barbara is. About 2 hours north of Santa Barbara, you're in Paso Robles.
And so what about the climate in Paso Robles and your vineyard, and what kind of wine should people expect?
They should expect huge wine and really smooth wine. The best part about Paso Robles is we get these really intense hot days. Huge, I mean just sweltering hot days. You melt the pounds off. I mean, it's just...
Well, I noticed you brought several varieties, and you said you have 20, how many?
About 28.
28 different varieties of wine, and that's quite a bit.
Yeah.
How long have you been around? How long have you guys been producing wine and yet growing grapes?
We've been growing grapes since we planted in 1995. Commercial crush was 1999, and we've been growing by word of mouth ever since. And so the way we like to play this is that it's real important that everybody that comes to visit us understands that this is a learning experience, that there is never, you never reach a certain point where you're saying, I'm done. Every day it changes. Your attitude when you come to a vineyard, you're all excited, your adrenaline levels are really huge, they're high, you want to have the best time in the world, which is why when people come to vineyards and they go to 3 or 4 or 5 in a day and they get by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they've had enough. They still have had a great time, but what do they actually learn from the experience? And most vineyards have really kind of gone back into this, you know, you have to follow the sheet. You must learn what we teach you. They negate the most important part of this, is that you know you. Tom knows himself, I know my palate. For that day, for that hour, based on our mood, what we have for breakfast, it changes constantly. There's nothing definitive. So Paso Robles for us is an experience where you can come and go check out a grape environment where you can go and taste the grapes and the juice of the grapes and the raisins of the grapes and out of a barrel and feel like you're part of a big family. That's what Opolo is all about.
Now Tom, you're pretty familiar with these wines because you serve them here at the Park Avenue Wine Bar. Is there anything that really jumps out at you that really identifies this vineyard from some of the other ones you serve?
Well, when we first tasted with Jeff in January, we said, wow, here's a winery that makes so many different varietals and so many different blends, and they're all good. So we could sort of, with our concept here at Park Avenue, we like to take this, blend it for a while, change it out for something else, do a different varietal. So it met like our needs completely. But out of the winery, the things that jump out the most, I mean, Jeff talks about Zin, and so do a lot of the distributors about Opolo Zins. However, it's other wines to me, well, the Zin is great.
What do we have in here in our glass?
Well, you got a little Petit Verdot.
Petit Verdot.
I've got some Grenache. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Petit
Verdot as well.
Okay, so none of us are drinking Zin.
None of us are drinking Zin.
Yeah. But if you try the Pinot Noir, the Pinot Noir comes in at 14.5% alcohol and never tastes hot. And I was shocked today just retasting. I'm like, God, I cannot believe that the alcohol is the predominant character at 14.5 on a light-bodied Pinot Noir. And you see that throughout their entire line. That the structure, the balance is phenomenal. The variety that you can get in the blends or single varietals is phenomenal, and the quality remains constant throughout. So you don't get like, all right, well, yeah, their Zins are great, but the Grenache, it's not so good, or this is sort of like lame. Everything is really a great, true expression of the varietal or the blend that they attempt. So we've sort of made it like our brother winery for Park Avenue, and we're hoping, we talked with Jeff today about doing a wine dinner here, hopefully in November.
Yeah, that's great.
And getting that online, because I mean, you could do a wine dinner with Opolo 3 or 4 different dinners over years, and they'll always be different because of the great variety they have.
Now, price-wise, where do these wines come compared to some of your California wines?
Because we don't have a huge overhead, most of our wines are priced retail between $18 and $24.
That's pretty reasonable.
It's pretty reasonable. We do have some that breach into 30 and one that breaches over 40, but the majority are all affordable and easily accessible, and that was what we were trying to do.
Now, we were talking a little bit earlier, and not all your area is used for grapes for your own vineyard. So you do grow grapes for other vineyards.
Yeah, 80. But most of our vineyard, the grapes, they all go north to Napa to other different types of wineries, trying to achieve a certain level of effectiveness, whatever they're trying to represent and share with their own.
Now, do you get to cherry pick the best stuff for you guys?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. And that allows you to produce some pretty good wine for a really reasonable price.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's awesome.
And it's consistent. And to Tom's comment too, that's the one thing that I hear all of the time, and it happened to me too. When I first went to work for Opolo, I could not get over. Now, every single wine I tried was consistently smooth, because my experience when my wife and I would go out was always, and still to this day, when I go, we have a tasting menu. I like the first one. There's somewhere or two in between that are okay. There's a third one that I like, and then we go to another place. You still have a good time.
Sure.
But by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, you say, where have we been? And you're like, well,
what stands out?
What
right?
stood out?
Right.
It's like, well, baby, you like the first one at this place, you like the 5th one at that place, and there was nothing that was ever. I didn't expect any consistency. So when I went to Opolo and I tasted all these in a row, and I sat on the bar and I tasted 28 wines, so you can imagine, I took my time with it. But I was really impressed, and I went to the land consultant and I said, I've got a question for you. I really want to know. And I said, how is it that I've never come across this before? I don't understand. And my other question is, once you answer that, why isn't anybody else doing this? Or how is it? And I think the real answer came when he said, look, as farmers, you have a better chance. You start off with a 50% chance of maybe getting it right if you're lucky. If you're lucky. But if you're minding your own store, you don't have to worry about what's showing up in these huge white bins with all the markings on it, because you'll know exactly what it is. If you put in a requisition for something else from some other buddy's land and you're not minding the store, you get what you get.
Right.
Frank, what was your favorite?
I really like this Petit Verdot.
Yeah, well,
I would say so.
Yeah, Petit Verdot is a rock star. The thing that impressed me the most too is even our guests, they came in and they all tried wine. You know what? Not one of them had the same favorite wine.
Really?
And I thought, you know, that says something about a winery. Everybody likes something different, you know, and which it just means that there's quality throughout.
The other thing that was interesting to me, I heard you talking to some of the people that were at the tasting, and you talked about the winemaker at Opolo.
Yeah,
who's the winemaker?
We don't have a winemaker at Opolo.
Okay, that's kind of unusual.
It is unusual, and it's one of the things we take a lot of great pride in. One of our owners, we have 2 owners, Rick Quinn and David Nichols. Their whole ambition, this is a hobby that got out of control, and they said we do not want to have just one person doing this, because when one person does it, they can leave.
Right.
Right? So,
and the whole characteristic of the vineyard changes when the new winemaker comes in.
Dramatically. So what if, it was a big what if you included people and said, you know what, please share in this experience. And they do. You can go. If you come and visit and you work with Opolo, you would be invited to come up to the bed and breakfast, get a lot of glasses out, with a lot of notes, but we actually work together to come up with something that you feel like you have a sense of ownership in, which is why there's such a matter of pride for me to be a part of all this, because they allow it. They say, please be part of this family, and anybody can, and that's what's great. So people that work at Opolo all have a contributing opinion. That's how I like to phrase it.
Well, that's great. Hey, how can other than coming to the Park Avenue Wine Bar, how can people find Opolo Wines? What's your website and your information?
The website is www.opolo.com.
O-P-O-L-O.
O-P-O-L-O.
That's easy.
We always like saying Opolo. Opolo.
That's a Greek, like Opa.
It is. Sorry, I want to take credit for that one. That's okay. I want to let Jeff have it. It's all right. It's okay. He's now Greek by association.
Exactly.
All right, for the Chicago Wine Show, that wraps up the Insider Edition. See you next time.
Cheers. Salud. Opolo.